Hey everyone, this is Adam, and I want to talk to you today about something that's been very near and dear to my heart the past couple of weeks, and that's this idea that we can and should and must cut toxic people out of our lives. I don't know where this idea really came from. I've been seeing it all over the place on relationship blogs, on Twitter, coming from the spiritual community, coming from the dating coach community, coming from everyone you could possibly imagine. This notion that the toxic people in our life are causing our problems and that the only real solution is to dismiss them out of hand. And I think that this idea is really, really short-sighted. I wrote a blog about it a couple months ago. It's called There's No Such Thing as a Toxic Person, and it covers a lot of these same points. But I want to reinforce this here now that really, the act of dismissing someone and distancing ourselves from someone and, kind of removing ourselves from a situation that is uncomfortable and that is possibly unhealthy for us to remain in long term. There's nothing necessarily wrong about that, but, and this is a big but, we need to make sure that we're doing that. If we are to make this choice for ourselves, and if we are to make this choice for who the other people in our life are going to be, then we need to make sure that the intention and that the inspiring thought with which we're going about that decision is the right one. And here's where I think the common refrain and the common advice really falls short, because basically the attitude is these people are too messed up for us to remain in their vicinity. They have no redeeming qualities to give us. They have no chance of redeeming themselves from their toxicity. They're so outside the realm of human discourse and human relationship that they don't deserve any more of our time, energy, or attention. And in case it's not clear, this really, really judges these other people. It really, really puts them down. It kind of makes us the authority over who they are and what's possible for their lives and kind of the potential that they have. And even if these kinds of people and the behaviors that they exhibit really are uncomfortable for us and are unproductive for kind of an easeful, free-flowing relationship, we don't do ourselves any favors by dismissing them from this mindset of they're not enough, from this lack mindset of they don't deserve us or they don't deserve our time. It puts us in a position of being better than them, of superiority. And this is really kind of a small-minded attitude masquerading as high-minded advice, where we think that we are doing something evolved, or we think that we're doing something ascended, but what we're really doing is we're withholding love. We're withholding love not only from the other person, but we're withholding love from ourselves, and we're saying that we can't be in their presence, and that's not a place that I think we really want to be in. That's not a place that I really think we want to act from. It denies our power in the situation. It kind of keeps us in a victim mindset where they're determining the rules of engagement, even if ostensibly we're taking action for ourselves. If we're doing it from the place of we can't get what we want with this other person, that's victim mindset. And that really has no place in a spiritual conversation. It has no place in a kind of healthy relationship conversation. So to kind of summarize all of what I've been saying, dismissing someone from victim mindset really disempowers us in these situations. And so what is the way to empower ourselves with someone who we think is toxic, or when we are faced with behavior that we think is toxic? We ask ourselves, have we done everything within our power to make ourselves feel good about this situation regardless of what they're doing? Or have we empowered ourselves to really learn how to respond and relate to someone who may be treating us in a way that is uncomfortable, or that is strenuous, or that is, whatever it is, that feeling that we're labeling as toxic, that we're judging as toxic? Have we really done everything that we know how to do to improve and to make ourselves feel better about the situation? The true high-minded perspective here, and the true ascended, evolved spiritual perspective here, is the recognition that we as people who are seeking to grow and are seeking to learn, we are the ones who really need to be able to operate in these spaces that are difficult, who really need to be able to use these relationships and to be able to to see these situations not as adversity or not as self-deprivation, but as opportunity, and as opportunity for growth, opportunity for learning, opportunity to really face our fears and not pretend like we can't get what we want and that's too bad and we have to move on to go find a place and a person that we can get that with. We need to be the embodiment of the principles that we really talk about and that we really speak about and that we really advocate and that we really try and demonstrate. And the best way to do that is by living that example. And I think a good example of doing just that is being able to be in the spaces that make us most uncomfortable and to not recoil from them and to not run away from them. And to really, if at the end of the day, we ultimately learn or we ultimately decide that it is in our best interest and in the other person's best interest to set the ultimate boundary and to say no more, that we've learned all that we could in the meantime, and that we've treated this person with respect despite what we think their shortcomings may be, and then we make the decision from an empowered place to say, I'm giving myself love, and thereby I'm giving you love, not in judgment as I say goodbye, but as a blessing, and to say, I bless you and your continued growth and healing. I bless myself and my continued growth and healing. And I'm just going to kind of take things for what they are and see things at face value and know that we're not aligned here and we're not a match here, and leave it at that. Leave the judgment, leave the toxic shaming out of it, and just kind of, even if we don't say it to their face, the way that the energy with which we make that decision is one of, thank you for being in my life. I wish you well. I'm going to go do my own thing. The last thing I want to say here is it may seem like I'm splitting hairs, or it may seem like the intent with which we act towards other people and towards ourselves doesn't really matter, but I think it matters a great deal. I think it's the thing that matters most. Our inspiring thoughts, the motivations for our outward words and actions are the things that most determine our experience of our reality, how we feel about our lives and the other people in them. And so we really can't diminish, or we really can't downplay the effect, the long-lasting effect that we have, that this perspective and reorienting this perspective, shifting it, really has for us, and the outcomes that we really seek for ourselves in terms of seeking happiness, joy, and peace with other people. Because the truth is, if we never learn to kind of be the embodiment of the principles that we've talked about and to give love in every situation, if we dismiss the person out of judgment, we'll find other similar people who we think are quote unquote toxic in the future, and we still won't know how to deal with them, and we still won't know how to relate to them. And we'll be perpetuating this cycle of lack and disappointment on and on and on, and we'll stay stuck. That's the whole point. We're withholding love for ourselves when we act like this. And it's time for us to think about it a little differently.